So there's a moment in everyone's life that changes everything. For some, it's celebration. For others, it's a revelation. For me, it was realizing that the education system I trusted had completely failed me when I needed it the most. That day, education stopped being theoretical and became deeply painful personal. And it's the reason why today thousands of students are learning differently through KA preps. I'm going to share the exact moment that led me to develop this strategy that I call it as DTDUR framework, the science-backed method that's helping Cambridge, IB, and all the international learners achieve top grades while building real-world skills. But first, you need to understand why this work isn't just professional for me, it's personal. So class 12, the year that's supposed to define your future in India. I had clarity about wanting to become an entrepreneur. But like thousands of family, we didn't have guidance on alternative paths. The message was clear everywhere. If you are a good student, your options are either engineering or medicine. My parents, incredibly loving and educated, invested their hard-earned money that wasn't casual for a family raising 3 daughters, into getting me into the top coaching institutes. That money represented sacrifice, hope, love, and faith in a system that promised success if you just worked hard enough. I was following all the rules, attending classes after college, going for tuitions, preparing for entrance exams, studying the prescribed materials, preparing for that IIT exam that would supposedly unlock my future. Everything was going according to the plan that everyone said was the right plan. So in that moment, I had to confront a brutal question. Should my entire future really depend on how well I can perform during the worst emotional crisis of my life? Now, what I didn't understand then, but what neuroscience has now proven is that I was fighting an impossible battle. Let me share the research that explains exactly what was happening to my brain that time. The neuroscience of grief and learning. Dr. Mary Francis' groundbreaking research at UCLA shows that grief literally rewires the brain when we experience major loss. The brain's default mode network responsible for memory, attention, and emotional regulation becomes completely disrupted. And here's what science reveals, what is called as working memory collapse. During extreme emotional stress, not necessarily death, but also financial pressure or any kind of family stress or personal stress, your working memory capacity collapses, which normally holds around 5 to 9 pieces of information, drops to as low as 2 to 3 pieces. And this is the cognitive resource you need for complex problem solving, the exact thing entrance exams demand. The next is cortisol hijacking. Chronic stress floods the brain with cortisol, which specifically impairs the hippocampus, your brain's learning and memory center. Dr. Robert Sapolsky's research shows that high cortisol levels can reduce memory formation by up to 50%. The next is attention fragmentation. Studies by Dr. Daniel Siegel demonstrates that traumatic stress causes the prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus and decision-making, to go essentially offline. Your brain is literally incapable of the sustained attention that exam requires. So there, I was sitting in an exam hall with a brain that science now tells us was operating maybe at 30% of its normal capacity, expected to perform as if nothing had happened. The system that my family had invested everything in was asking me to overcome biology itself. But here's what really opened my eyes. This isn't just about extreme circumstances like mine. Dr. Claude Steele's research on stereotype threat shows that any high-pressure, identity-threatening situation can cause cognitive performance to plummet. Studies across 50,000 students reveal that test anxiety alone reduces performance by 12 to 20%, even among well-prepared students. Single-point assessment is the worst predictor of future academic and career success. Stress-based learning environments actually inhibits the development of critical thinking skills. This is when I realized the system wasn't just failing me personally. It was failing to understand how human beings actually learn and perform. Now, fast forward to 2014, when I am working as an educator and facilitator for international curriculum. And for the first time, I'm seeing what education looks like when it's designed around how the brain actually works and not against it. Instead of single high-stake exams, I witnessed continuous assessment that reduced pressure while improving learning. Inquiry-based learning that built genuine curiosity. Skill-focused education where knowledge became a tool and not a destination. Students thriving, but because they weren't fighting their own nervous systems. And that's when I had my breakthrough. What if we could create a learning system that worked with the brain's natural processes instead of against them? And that when I wanted to make it in such a way which can easily be replicated by all the educators at KH Preps after training them for this strategy, that is DTDUR strategy. This realization led me to develop what is now the foundation of everything that we do at KH Preps. It's a science-backed, skill-based approach that makes excellence predictable instead of accident. D stands for Diagnose. That is, instead of throwing students into content immediately, making them memorize, just bombarding them with all the information, we first identify exactly what cognitive and academic skills need development. We assess not just what they know, but how they think and learn. This prevents the scattergun approach that leaves students studying the wrong things for hours. T stands for Teach. At KH Preps, we do not lecture. We facilitate discovery. Based on cognitive load theory, we break complex concepts into manageable chunks, use dual coding, that is visual plus verbal, and ensure deep understanding before moving forward. Every teaching moment is designed to build neural pathways and not just simply transfer of information. D stands for Drill. And this isn't mindless repetition. We use deliberate practice, targeting specific weaknesses with immediate feedback. We apply spacing intervals that aligns with memory, consolidation, research. Students practice until skills become automatic, freeing up cognitive resources for higher level thinking. And U stands for Upgrade. We continuously analyze performance data and metacognitive awareness to identify the next level of challenge, like a video game. Students are always working at the edge of their capabilities, ensuring optimal growth without cognitive load. And the last one, that is R, stands for my favorite, that is Retest. We use retrieval practice, proven to be one of the most effective learning strategies, but we test for the skill development, not just for content recall. Students demonstrate their upgraded thinking abilities, not just memorization skill, and that is what exactly international curriculum demands. That is application-based learning. And why this changes everything. When students learn through DTDUR, something magical happens. Excellence or an A star becomes predictable. They are not hoping to perform well one crucial day. They are building capabilities that create consistent success based on the right skills. The students I work with now don't just achieve A-star grades. They develop, most importantly, critical thinking skills that serve them in any situation. Emotional resilience built through manageable challenges. Genuine confidence that comes from real competence. Future-ready capabilities that no AI can replace. Now, this is exactly the tutoring system I wish had existed when I was in grade 12. One that recognizes that human beings are not just machines that can perform on command, but complex learners who thrive when education is designed around scientific understanding of how we actually grow. If you are a student watching this, I want you to understand something. Your worth is not determined by your ability to perform under pressure. Your potential is not limited by your worst day or your biggest challenges. If you are a parent, I want you to consider this. If instead of preparing your child to survive a high-pressure moment, making your child go through that burnout without any science, strategy, learning methodologies from the tuitions, prepare them to thrive through any challenge life presents. This became the foundation for me helping so many children learn and grow with the right tutoring system without fear and pressure that once nearly broke me. Subscribe to this channel if you believe education or learning systems to get good grades should be designed around how humans actually learn, not how systems want to test them. Share this video with any parent or student who has ever felt that education system doesn't see them as a whole person. Rather than a robot going from one school to one tuition, learning the same concept without learning the right strategies. And comment below and tell me, have you ever experienced a moment and you realize that the learning systems has to be more than just marks and exam, and that is what exactly teachers should know about. See you in the next video.